Live from New York City, it's Wearable Electronics with your host, Becky Stern.
Hello, everyone. It's November 4th. We're live
It's
at
true.
the Adafruit factory in New York City. With me is my delightful co-host for the day, Mr. Collin Cunningham. Collin, what's on today's show?
Lots of stuff, lots of things, wearable things. Let's look. On today's show, we'll be covering Wearable Wednesday, of course.
It's where we share with you cool projects from the community and also debut a new video. Today, it's the teardown of the Disney Magic Band.
We get to see how the magic happens. That actually sounds good.
Yeah.
To maybe fairy dust flies out when you crack it open.
Mm-hmm.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Also, we'll be talking about a material which is in the spotlight. This would be a conductive filament, I believe.
No, this is magnetic filament. More on that later, and the difference.
See, I get confused.
They look similar.
Well, I could talk about a tool we love.
This week it's YouTube Analytics, which we've been spending a lot of time in, and why we love it for measuring all of our live shows.
You have to love it.
I have to love it. Yeah. Yep.
It helps to love the tool you use.
Uh-huh.
And of course, you'll be asking some Q's and we'll be giving some A's.
Yes, if you have any wearable electronics questions, you can ask them now or later in the comments of the live chat or any YouTube video, the forum, a Google Plus page, on Twitter, and on the Adafruit blog, and I'll round them up and answer them live on the show later on. And one of you intrepid, inquisitors will win a prize. Today's prize is a Flora version 2 sewable microcontroller.
Very nice.
Switching it up a little bit.
Something different. And if you'd like to pick up anything from the Adafruit store, you can use the discount code TEARDOWN to get 10% off everything excluding gift certificates and software. And that code TEARDOWN expires at 11:59 p.m. So, I think we should just move headlong into today, which is Wearable Wednesday.
I love Wearable Wednesday.
Good for you. Good thing.
It's great.
I'm quite fond of it myself.
Yeah.
First on the menu.
But if you can't get enough wearables, I wanted to let you know that we started recently this Wearables Tips newsletter,
Mhm.
and
I'm subscribed.
Cool, thanks. Oh, good. You can sign up at adafruitdaily.com, and we're releasing a couple of different daily tips newsletters or daily newsletters. One's about regular, like plain old electronics, DIY electronics. Dusty old, no, new, fabulous.
Hot new.
Yeah.
Sparkling
Yeah,
electronics,
exactly.
right?
And Maker Business, and then our 3D printing newsletter is launching soon. So if you want to catch any of those, you can sign up at adafruitdaily.com, and we won't spam you. It's not associated with your Adafruit shopping cart website at all. There's no like weird shadiness, just good old
Just tips.
content. And so this week, one of my favorite tips on the Wearables newsletter was this thing about conductive yarn. You can knit conductive yarn in with regular yarn in any like mitten or glove project, and then that makes the gloves or mittens touchscreen compatible, so you can use them.
Before I had that ability, I was like, why would I need that? And now that I have that in my gloves, I think, I need that. It's very good.
You can learn how to do that with our knitting pattern for a pair of touchscreen mittens on the Adafruit Learning System, and then the tip came to you through the newsletter. See how we package it all up that
I
night.
received it.
Yes.
Everything is tied together. There's continuity everywhere. You just have to look.
In other news on the blog, let's look at some customer projects.
You'll be interviewing for a position at Mystical Merc Inc.
Tim obviously at his office Halloween party made one of our projects, the mystical LED hood for Halloween, with the NeoPixel jewels for eyes and the sewing pattern for the hood and the transparent overlay in the front. Really nice job. Thanks for sharing.
Right. I don't know if I'm qualified for this position. I mean, I'm a people person, but black mages didn't have a lot of experience with. But other than
This
that.
is a cool video that Leslie posted about how to make LED diffusers out of hot glue using ice cube trays.
Right. That's how I got confused.
It's a pretty good tip. I'm going to put it in the tips newsletter.
That makes sense. And not just that. This is more from Leslie?
Here's another project Leslie posted. Yeah, it's a dress that senses the environment, so like the air quality and stuff like that, and then turns and adjusts these like 3D printed both mechanical dials and color changing LED objects over the dress to kind of reflect the quality of the air and the environment around you.
I like that. I like
pretty artsy.
The indicator, yeah.
Yeah.
The mechanical dial. I don't see those every day.
No, right?
Not
3D
even
printed
every other
mechanical.
day. Yeah.
They're aiming to put their 3D files online soon, so you make one
awesome.
of those mechanical dials. It's pretty cool.
Intense.
Yeah, you can read more about it in Leslie's blog post. Leslie's in the chat too. You can say hi to Leslie.
Hi, Leslie. Hello, Halloween props contest.
Yeah, the Instructables website is having several Halloween contests, and Adafruit has agreed to sign on to sponsor some prizes for the props contest. And it's not too late to enter any of the Instructables contests. They figure, after Halloween you're cramming, and then you can tidy up your documentation over the next couple days. So you have 5 more days from this live airing to enter your costume or prop in one of the Halloween contests over on the Instructables site. Here are some of the projects right now in the props contest. With some Iron Man going on in there. And,
Sit-through breather.
Really cool. So check it out and definitely enter if you've got a Halloween prop or costume, because there's some cool prizes to be had, and then everybody else gets to see how awesome your costume was.
I don't think my outfit would really be eligible.
Why not?
It didn't use electronics.
I don't think that the props contest, there's official rules there, but I don't think it specifies that you have to use electronics. My Halloween costume didn't use electronics either.
That's true. Just a lot of elbow grease.
Elbow grease, sewing, a lot of
sweat,
sewing.
and tears.
Whew. Okay, speaking of which.
Oh!
I've been waiting to use that segue.
Oh! I never heard that one before. I'm a little impressed.
This is a customer wrote in with this Gemma and NeoPixel sequin project on a witch's hat for Halloween. Very cool. I would say eligible for the Halloween props contest. Although
Very
also
much so.
possibly the Halloween costume contest.
I'm also a big fan of sand art, and I see some in the background. So
Oh yeah, that's
extra
awesome.
points.
Yeah.
Sorry,
nice.
I'm not judging though.
No, I like sand art too.
No, I'm not judging the contest. Too.
Oh, the contest. Yeah,
Right.
no, me neither.
Oh, these are amazing.
Okay, these are a pair of wings. They're pneumatic. Aren't they nuts? What?
Look at the feather
And they
spread at
make
the even distribution like that.
Gorgeous cosplay wings. Who says your electronic Halloween costume has to have LEDs in it when it can make you look like a falcon?
I don't. I definitely don't say that.
Yeah,
I would
right?
be very satisfied.
Yeah.
Right.
They're awesome.
Wow.
Read
I
more
could
about
watch
them
that a lot.
on the blog. Very
And
nice.
Not the only winged costume we're talking about.
Phil B.
This one's amazing too.
Adafruit creative engineer Phil B. collaborated with Aaron St. Blaine and Noe and Pedro on this Wasp Woman costume, the Avengers character that was sort of hinted at the end of the Ant-Man movie. It's got this LED 3D printed mask. You can learn how to make that in one of Noe and Pedro's 3D printing videos. And then it's got a sewn vest costume that Aaron made,
That's
and then
gorgeous,
this
yeah.
back plate with the wings, they move, and Phil B made this. It's got 3D printed parts and then the wings, and then it's controlled by one of those 315 megahertz wireless modules to trigger the movement on the wings. Just gorgeous. Nice
Gorgeous.
work, guys.
They all did an amazing job.
Yeah, really lovely. So I'm hoping to see more information posted by Phil B, maybe some out and about town videos and stuff.
Right. Yeah, I know he worked a while on this.
He's been working on this, and
Really
he
awesome.
he has a whole series of posts on the blog about his progress and trials and tribulations with this costume, and also the talking dog collar costume, and all the stuff he was working on through Halloween. So definitely check out the Halloween archive on the blog. That's the next slide too. Is the
Right. Yeah. I really like watching wings spread.
It's
I'm
good.
noticing.
No, it's a good video.
I
There's
could just watch that in loops forever. Animated GIFs normally bother me.
That's not an animated GIF. That's a Vine, Collin.
You know what I mean. Short looping video.
It is short because Vine's only 6 seconds.
I'll let you go top
All
of
the
it again,
rest
please.
of you can find, we're just wrapping up all our Halloween coverage, because everybody's getting to documenting their stuff on the Adafruit blog. You can follow all of the cool Halloween posts we're putting up there in the Halloween category and using hashtag electronic Halloween. It's been a pretty good Halloween year.
Yeah.
So
Nice splash.
if you haven't posted up your costume yet, there's still time. We'd still be happy to post it about it next week. I never get tired of Halloween. That's not true. I did go through phases of getting tired of Halloween.
Sure. And then you come back.
Yeah,
And then
still
it
love
comes
it.
back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I've warmed up to it myself.
Speaking of site news,
We are.
we are at 20 million YouTube views, Collin.
It's a lot. I don't have a lot of ideas of that number and how big it is.
Well, it's a little bit less mind-boggling than the watch time statistics, which are in millions of minutes, and it's
Yeah.
really hard to fathom how much time that is, how much eyeball screen time there is on you or
It's
me.
a
and
dangerous
the whole
metric. Could
Adafruit
drive you
channel.
insane. Yeah.
But congrats on 20 million.
Congrats on you.
It's a nice round number.
Yeah, it is. I'm good with it.
And in other news, speaking of
Yeah,
videos, we have
right.
one to launch today. That's how we do this 20 million thing, by continuing to publish videos every week.
Mo content.
Fewer problems.
Mo magic.
Mo magic. This week's video is a teardown of the Disney Magic Band, and the video explains it all, so we might as well just show it to you.
Let's not explain. Oh, you'll explain.
I'll explain. Welcome to another Adafruit Wearables teardown. Today we're taking a look at the Disney Magic Band. You may have heard about this as an augmented upgrade for your kids to wear and track and have really interesting interactions at the Disney parks. There's some interesting electronics going on inside, so let's see what Lady Ada has to say about the design of the circuit.
Hey everybody, thanks Becky for taking apart the Magic Band from the Magic Kingdom. This would seem like it's really molded on. It's quite a serious endeavor to take it out. What's cute is actually when I was looking at this, so first off, this is the molding. So yeah, you can see that this plastic, you can actually read the part number off of the molded plastic and see every little component. This is, the waterproof molded. It has to be able to survive, like people jumping into pools with their bands on and forgetting about them. And this is pretty much the only thing inside there. It's a little chip, and it says NRF 24LEDN14. This is related to the NRF 2401 RF chip that many people are familiar with. It's very, very low cost, 2.4 gigahertz RF chip. It's not Bluetooth Low Energy, it's not Wi-Fi, it's just a direct 2.4 gigahertz connection, very low power. But this one actually, as you notice, there's no other chips around it. This, not only it has the radio, but also has a little processor in it. So Nordic made a version of the chip that basically has a simple 32-bit processor in it. So, if you want to not have to have the expense of an extra chip and you don't have to have something very complicated go on, this is good for you. There's a couple passives. There's a 16 megahertz crystal up here, nice crystal. These traces over here come to the back, and these are your tested program points when it's manufactured. You can see the molding presses this in so much that you get little bumps on the back. And then this part over here
looks like some sort of like local antenna maybe,
because it says apparently
you can use for
distant as well
as local communication. So there's possibly some way for it to act as a kind of a local sort of RFID-esque type thing. So
the receiver, it notifies. This is molded on, and this is the battery holder. So the battery is kind of tucked in here into this plastic. This is a coin cell, non-rechargeable CR1620. Lithium coin cell, and then this battery connector kind of folds over and into it. So they avoided having any mechanical connectors just by reusing this flex circuit. I guess they just press it in far enough that it makes good contact. And then over here, this got torn a little bit, but there is an antenna that goes down the band. So this is the trace antenna, and if you look up the NRF 24 LE1, which is this chipset, you can see, this is the analog front end for the antenna, RX and TX, goes all the way out to the band. So it's pretty simple. There's just one chip, does processing and radio. The NRF24 can go quite a few meters. So this is definitely something that can do long distance communication, receive and transmit. Probably what happens is when you get the band, it has a unique identifier already burned into it. They take it to their station and then they tie it to your identification there, and then eventually it stops working. With the bill of materials, I'd say probably about 75 cents. It's not the cheapest design they could have gone with, but it's definitely a really good design. You can tell they didn't go for like some really low cost chip with like 900 megahertz or require a big antenna, maybe more battery. They went with a Nordic solution, kind of trusted, well-known chip, and it's very simple. And they probably make hundreds of thousands, if not millions of these a year, and they seem to be working out okay. So Nordic, you win this one. And that's our teardown of the Magic Band.
For this and many other teardowns, we use these tools and the Adafruit USB microscope with its articulated stand. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for future teardowns. Let us know what you'd like to see in the comments, and check out our playlist with the past teardowns that we've done here at Adafruit. There you go, guys.
Thanks, second Becky.
Yeah, pre-recorded Becky, you rock.
It's quite helpful.
Thanks, Collin. You helped out with that video too, so thanks.
So no pixie dust, no magical ether escaped. It was Bluetooth all along.
Bluetooth's not magic. I think Bluetooth is kind of magic.
It has magical qualities. When you get into the nuts and bolts, you see that the magic is made of bits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's neat about this is the close range and the long range antennas, so they can use it kind of like RFID to scan into like a fast pass, like an entry, authentication, and then also the long range that I think allows Disney to do all kinds of creepy tracking the density of people in the park kind of stuff. that could be useful for making the park experience more fun. And also I find it super creepy and therefore very interesting.
They could add a new scary ride that just tells you about yourself as you move along the corridor.
This is how it's scary
You
because
enjoy
it's like
meatball sandwiches near the Space Mountain a lot. Why didn't you go to the bathroom 4 times last night?
we could
At 3
advise you
a.m.,
to not
4 a.m.,
to not
4:30 a.m.,
to not
and
go get the
4:45
meatballs
a.m.
again or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
It's something to keep in mind. You may not want to wear a magic band.
To all of your locations around Southern California. No, I don't know.
No.
It's just really neat technology and interesting to see because they do have such a huge level of control about the environment there. It's really interesting to see what they'll use this data for. Because it's a really neat, like clean data set, and they know everything. Like the park is so well engineered.
Yeah. Now, Mickey can not only look scary with his massive visage, he can walk up and whisper sweet private details in my ears.
Well, for one, to let people
Didn't
know,
come
like,
out right.
if you're in a crowd, say like they're doing the Jedi training thing, where all the kids, and then they call them out, they could know, like, generally the names of kids who are likely to be in that crowd, and they could call out names.
Right.
I hear there is a Billy in the audience.
Still creepy.
Yeah, it is. I know. I'm thinking of creepy things that to kids would seem like magic.
Yep.
Darth Vader like already knows your name.
Of course he does.
Yeah. Anyway,
If you'd like to purchase anything from the Adafruit store today, please use the discount code TEARDOWN to get 10% off anything in the store except gift certificates and software. And remember that will expire at 11:59 p.m. But moving right along and turning on the spotlight, moving over to certain material.
This is new in the store. This is the Protopasta magnetic filament, and it's made with, it's like PLA and iron. So I would like to tell you more about it. It is not a magnet. So like if you print out, it's not going to stick to surfaces that are not magnetic. It is ferromagnetic in that magnets stick to it. It's got iron in it, so you can attach magnets to it. And then the other thing that I think is cool from a sculpture or cosplay perspective is that you can treat it like iron for aging and surface finish techniques. So if you wanted to do like an armor plate and then like rust it out, you can do like a saltwater rag drape or like all kinds of like traditional steel sculpture finishing techniques to get like a controlled rust or like a textured rust on the outside, which is and that's a thing. Surface finishing is kind of tricky for 3D
aging,
printing.
3D printing stuff would it'll always be plastic unless you have an aspect like this to exploit. Yeah,
plastic and metal together, and then magnets will stick to it, which could be cool for attaching different pieces. And you can like make your costume with rare earth magnets embedded in it, and then slap on this cover, and it'll just stick.
Right. It opens up some interesting options for enclosures for electronics too. It's interesting stuff.
Yeah, so I'll look forward to knowing Pedro doing something with it soon, but it's fresh in the store.
Must be pretty heavy too.
Yeah, I'd imagine. It's different from the conductive filament that Protopasta makes.
Important difference.
And that's got like carbon and PLA in it, and it's actually quite flexible. And then they also make a coffee PLA that I think we're testing out. It's not in the store though.
You could rub against your skin and wake up.
That would be cool, right? Maybe it smells great. You schedule your print for first thing in the morning to.
Sadly, I think it's probably describing a color. No?
No, it is made with recycled coffee. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
Do you watch
It's great.
3D Hangouts, Collin?
I do when I have the chance. I'm quite busy lately.
I know, me too. Anyway, if you'd like to pick up a roll of this ferromagnetic Protopasta 1.75 millimeter 3D printing film in the store, you can use the code TEARDOWN to get 10% off. We have a couple in stock right now.
You certainly can, and you can also check out some tools in the store. This one tool is not available in the store.
No, not available in the store, but
Still love it.
Tools we love. We like to highlight a tool, both either physical or digital tool, that helps us do our job here at Adafruit. This week it's YouTube Analytics.
Certainly does a lot of helping doing the job.
Well, we measure everything, and when we measure things, we can make criteria for success and evaluate whether something we're trying is working out, and then decide to do more of it or less of it, or guide our editorial and product decisions. So ever since Google bought YouTube, they've been adding to the YouTube backend analytics, and recently they've been adding a lot of really interesting features that have helped us out a lot. in tracking our different video efforts. So it's more than just a view count now, and you don't have to wait a couple days. So this is what the YouTube Analytics dashboard looks like when you log in, and you can adjust like a time frame for what stats you want to look at. This is the YouTube channel for most of all time since watch time was recorded at the beginning of 2012. And you can see there we've got 48 million minutes watched, and our average view duration for all time is 2 minutes and 28 seconds.
If you lined all those minutes up, how many times would it wrap around the world?
I don't know how long is a minute. Yeah. Right. Then something new that they added that's really cool for us is the real-time stats. So usually you'd have to wait a couple days to get stats on your viewership. So for things like videos, which kind of can blow up right after they get uploaded, it's really interesting to be able to see the real-time stats come in. So if you've done a media push like we do, where we reach out to other sites and ask them to post our stuff if they think it's a relevant story to their readers, we can see if it's gaining traction or if maybe we should be like contacting more people or trying to get the word out on social media more.
Keep you quite agile. Yeah.
And you get like a heads up if it, like our Android Mirror project from last week like got on Lifehacker and got pretty popular, and you could see the spike happen well before the regular stats were reported, and so we knew to like, you know, maybe add an extra card or retweet the Lifehacker tweet, or, you know, and amplify that message. So I really like the real-time stats. Really fun to sit there and watch the graph go by.
Sure, it'd be pretty addictive, yeah.
Yeah, and then for streaming and for videos, there's like an audience retention graph. This is actually just the viewership live graph of the show back in September, so you can see people joining along the time of the show, and then maybe dropping off, and then maybe other people coming in.
Dropping off and I make a horrible joke or something.
Right, or when the segment changes and it's not something they're interested in. So we can use something like this to determine whether a segment was interesting or not interesting, and then because we do tweets for each segment, we can see like which of those tweets were effective or
Tweet
caused.
spike.
Yeah, tweet spike. So the analytics are really useful then for seeing like where we should focus our efforts and measure like what really is you guys are responding to the best. So I just spent all day yesterday at this YouTube women's think tank event, so it's all very present of mind, and we just updated the stats for the social media report. So there's a blog post on the site right now about the show stats. So if you're curious about any of the numbers for the other shows besides the wearable show, for instance, Collin has amassed 2.5 million minutes watched for Collin's Lab.
Not many people watched it. I didn't watch that much.
Well, you only have 10 episodes, whereas like there's wearables,
Right.
there's like 100 and something wearables videos, and they're at like 7 million minutes watched total. So you have a higher ratio. And I don't know. You can look at all the breakdowns of all those stats. It's pretty interesting to see like total minutes watched of Ask an Engineer is close to the wearables videos, and like video views are very different because it's a live long show versus like a short project video, you know?
A lot of data.
Right, and the data is really interesting. I like it.
Yeah, no,
It's a tool that is a favorite of mine.
I'm like, wow, there's details. They've got them all. If you'd like to pick up something from the Adafruit store.
If you want to support our video efforts, one of
Yes.
the things we measure is sales.
Yes, that's true. And the data is simple here. It's the word teardown. And you can use that discount code in the store to get 10% off everything excluding gift certificates and software. That expires at 11:59 p.m. I was frankly just a little bit overwhelmed with the amount of data.
There's so much
you're
data.
ingesting there. I get data full.
I don't. I get data. I get data munchies.
Oh my God! I gotta unbutton a
More
button
data.
or ask a question and get an answer.
If you have any wearables questions, you can ask them now in the chat or later in the YouTube comments or in the Adafruit forums or in the Adafruit blog or on Twitter and Google+, and we'll round them up and answer them on a future show and make you eligible to win the show's giveaway, which will happen right after I answer the following questions.
It's true. This is a question that you actually gathered. Francico13 asks, does anyone know if I can connect the flowing effect EL wire to the sound detecting inverter?
Oh, sorry, buddy. No, not really. The flowing effect EL wire works by this inverter has a sequencer in it that sequences 3 strands of EL wire at varying
3 strands
speeds.
of EL wire inside of the flowing effect. Okay.
Right, so we don't recommend cutting it and trying to reattach it to another inverter. There's just so many connections in there, I wouldn't attempt it. You can cut it to make it shorter, but I wouldn't try to connect it to a different inverter. It's kind of like what you see is what you get there.
Hey, not a recommended move, but if you want to experiment.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a dial, and the dial's just a fancy potentiometer, so you could play around with the inverter, but just be careful with the because it can shock you. It's not dangerous shock, but it's ouchy.
Not a plug-and-play situation.
No.
Okay. Asking another question is Toast. Hey, Becky. Hi. Help. That was just an emoticon. I was
That's that
translating.
face, yeah.
Can a lily pad USB be powered by a coin cell battery?
No, not for very long. A coin cell battery, they have like a little bit of a different voltage sort of profile than like an alkaline pack, and they can, with a large current draw, the voltage can dip quite dramatically. So they're recommended for like a low current that doesn't spike. You know?
Okay. Yep.
And so because of that unique aspect of them, they're not that great for microcontrollers because they'll draw like a lot of current and then it like changes the amount of current it draws. And anyway, the total capacity of a coin cell battery is not enough to power a microcontroller for very long. So if you want to know more about how to, instead of just saying yes or no, I want to teach you how to fish and show you that there is a tutorial and a video on the Adafruit Learning System about battery powering your wearable electronics. It teaches you how to use the formula for adding up all of your components' amperage draws and then comparing that to the total capacity of the battery you want to use. And that way you'll be able to do the math for how long each of those battery packs is going to last, and then you can decide, because it's a trade-off really, like if you want a really small battery that lasts a shorter time or like a much larger battery that lasts a very long time. There's a time and space trade-off there, but you can calculate it out. So no, a coin cell is not going to power a LilyPad USB or a Flora. The 2 coin cell pack that we carry, that's a 6-volt pack, that'll power like Gemma and 4 NeoPixels like for 2 hours or something. So I recommend a live poly or an alkaline pack for those, not so much the lithium coin cells.
Must be really glad you made that video.
I'm so glad. Yeah,
We keep referring to it. It's very
It's really useful.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the biggest questions people have is about how to power their stuff.
All starts with power.
Yep.
Another question from Alice. Dear Miss Becky, I made the NeoPixel Tiara and was wondering if there was a way to add on a button that would allow the changing of modes in the Tiara. I saw that the Flora umbrella and the Neo Geo watch do this, but they're with Flora and the Tiara uses Gemma. Is it possible to have multiple modes in Gemma? Is there even enough storage space?
Sure. Yeah, so the mode switcher on the Neo Geo watch and the Flora umbrella is just a button, and it's just using as a digital input. So there's no like extra code library you need to include or anything. And then the number of animation modes you can fit will depend on the memory size. Gemma, I think if you take the Flora umbrella code and you try to just put it on the take the color sensor out code out and just try to put the animation modes and the button code on there, I think it'll fit. The color sensor is obviously not compatible with Gemma, but the Neo Geo watch only takes up all the space on the Flora because it uses all that GPS and
stuff.
compass
Right.
stuff going on. So, but just for extra, and then all of the strand test functions, like there's your answer right there. Is that like the button doesn't add any extra memory space really, and then the like you see in the strand test NeoPixel code, it goes between a couple different animation functions and has no problem with space. So, yeah. Alice, you have a Flora and a Gemma, don't you? So just try it.
Can do.
Yeah.
All right, speaking of a Flora, we're going to give one away.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah, sure. So those were your questions. One of the 3 of you will win today this Flora Micro 32U4 microcontroller with USB HID support.
That's true.
Okay.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Winner.
Remember, you can the way you enter is to ask a question, and then I'll answer it on a future show.
Let's do that. I clear the chamber. Toast. Toast? Toast?
Toast. Congratulations. You asked
You
about a
won,
LilyPad
sure.
USB, but instead you won a Flora. So you can contact support at adafruit.com to claim your prize, and I'll also reach out to you on the Twitters.
So kind of you.
Yep. And remember, you
Congratulations.
can enter to win by just asking a question about wearable electronics. I'll answer it on a future episode and make you eligible to win the prize.
Prizes. Discount codes.
If you didn't win, or you just want to support Adafruit or get some materials for your next project,
I do.
you can use code TEARDOWN to get 10% off everything in the Adafruit store, everything except gift certificates and software. So that's the atoms in the store, not the bits. And yeah, right? Atoms, not bits.
Right.
Code TEARDOWN, good until 11:59 p.m.
Very
tonight.
true. Yeah.
We're on Periscope right now, in case you wanted to watch the show without the graphics and from a slightly different angle, or hear what we talk about while the video is streaming.
Right. That's always fun.
It was basically
today
it was basically like an Orwellian spiral about the privacy issues at the Disney parks, and we were brainstorming new Disney attractions that were based on the horror of the privacy invasion.
Right, and I mentioned something about getting sun poisoning, I think.
So you can tune in on Periscope for the behind the scenes.
Profile shots, yeah.
If you can't get enough wearables and you really want a little bit every day in your inbox, you can sign up for our tips newsletter. That'll be every weekday at adafruitdaily.com, where we won't ever spam you or anything like that. We'll just give you tips, promise.
That's very true. And later tonight, you can check out Show and Tell and Ask an Engineer at 7:30 p.m. and 8 p.m. respectively.
Yes, and you can show off your own project if you want on the Show and Tell.
It's very true.
Yeah.
It's interactive.
It's a fun time.
It is. And tomorrow?
Tomorrow is 3D Hangouts with Noe and Pedro, where they talk about materials and techniques, and it's like Wearable Wednesday, but like on Thursday about 3D printing.
Right.
That's my
See it
elevator
that
pitch
way.
to people who are already watching
You're
the show.
identifying, yeah. I
Yeah,
understand.
it's like a similar show, but with them and with 3D printing.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
And they also debut a new project and talk all about it, so that's a really fun time to watch there. And thank you so much for watching. We'll be back again next week with more wearable electronics.
You will.
I will. Collin will be on again soon.
I'll be back eventually. Did we say thanks for watching?
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. It's true.